Okay, everyone. Hey, this is Coach Nair with the Heal on Purpose podcast. I am so super excited to be with you all tonight as I truly am elated to once again bring you another Heal on Purpose podcast hosted by the Repair of the Black Family. For those of you that know me, you know who I am. I am your transformational life coach. For those of you that don't, I want to understand that I am also your transformational life coach. I am the founder of the Repair of the Black Family, and I specialize in the eradication of generational drama, limiting beliefs, and self sabotaging behavior patterns. Our foundation focus in on the health and well beingness of the family, mindset, and business. We want you to understand that every single week that you get on this podcast, that we are going to bring you episodes that's going to edify you and help you to make your communities a safe and decent place to live. Now, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, we are so very grateful that you are here with us tonight. We ask that you go ahead and share the podcast, invite someone else on to listen to the podcast, because I'm going to almost guarantee you that you're going to be able to take something away from this podcast and apply it to your life. If you are listening live stream, we ask that you please go ahead and leave us a review so that we would know how this podcast is resonating with you. In addition to that, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast so you can be alerted with upcoming episodes. If you are listening via YouTube, we also ask that you like and subscribe the podcast. And if you are on Facebook, we also ask that you follow this page so you can also be notified when we go live with our podcast. Make sure you share it, put a comment in the comment section. And for those of you that really, really know me, you understand that I really love the hearts. Okay. So drop me some yellow hearts. Tonight, I'm excited to introduce to you and present to others our dear brother, Fard Mahdi. He is out of Saint Petersburg, Florida. He is a representative of Muhammad Mosque number 95, right here in Saint Petersburg, Florida. He's married to his beautiful wife that I absolutely love and adore. Her name is Sister Yateria. They've been married, upcoming, their anniversary is 7 years, y'all. 7 years they have been married and together, doing what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us to do, and that is to have a strong family, which will make a strong nation. Together, combined, they have a total of 6 children. I believe I got that right. Now, if I make a mistake, I know he's gonna correct me. He has 6 children, and he's been a member of the Nation of Islam for 9 years. Okay, 9 years strong, y'all. A member of the Nation of Islam, and he's an entrepreneur with several, and I do mean several adventures that he's bringing to our communities to help people to be able to do for themselves, or, like the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, or suffer the consequences. So I'm not going to belabor the point with all of my talking about this dear brother. I'm so super, super excited to have him on our podcast tonight. I soldier with him. I know his family, and I do know personally, he has a love for this mission, and not just a love for the mission, right? Only this brother really loves the Final Call newspaper. So with that being said, I'm going to bring our dear brother on as he is going to edify us tonight with making our community a safe and decent place to live. Brother Fard Mahdi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wow, alaikum salam. It is so amazing and super, super excited to have you here on the Heal on Purpose podcast so that you can help edify our audience with all of the amazing work that you do. So welcome to the Heal on Purpose podcast. I know we've had you on before, You're not new to this. You're just true to this. Okay.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
Here
ma'am.
before, but you was here with your beautiful wife. And tonight we're just gonna shift the perspective a little bit because of all of the amazing work that you're doing to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. I definitely wanted to highlight you so that you can continue your work and definitely as you are boots on the ground. And I'm gonna say that one more time, Brother Farad. Boots on the ground in the city of Saint Petersburg, Florida, carrying that number one newspaper.
Yes, ma'am.
Global.
Without it.
The global newspaper,
right.
The Final Call newspaper, giving a final call to our people. So welcome, Brother Fard. Yeah. Y'all, for my audience, y'all give it up for Brother Fard Mahdi.
Well, praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister Nair and Brother Dawood Muhammad, for the awesome opportunity to grace your audience and to share a few words, on my journey. But I'm a big fan of you and your husband and your family, Sister Bernica, your mother. I just saw her the other day. Big shout out to mother. I call her Mother Ernestine, right? She's like a mother to me too.
Happy birthday to my mama. Let me go ahead and happy birthday to my mama.
Your other son, Brother Jabril, so I'm just, I always have been infatuated and had a major love for all of your family members, in you and your husband, of course, because we are very close. We've been dealing with each other for a long time now. It seems like forever. But so yeah, I'm excited and happy to be here. And now when you was introducing me, I was in the back like, who is that? Like it's when you hear it from somewhere else, So sometimes we had to look at these reports and hear what other people had to say. Cause we just, my head just be down. I just be working. I don't, what I'm saying? I just don't hear nothing. I had to block out all the noise and stay focused.
I do understand that. And I believe I just want to make one slight correction, or maybe not. How many children do you have?
We have six.
Okay, I got that. Yes.
We have five that's in the household with us. I have a grown member. We are a blended family.
Yeah.
So we do have two that is outside of the marriage per se. Because she had one, our oldest that's here with us now, Kamalia. She had her before I came to the picture, but I, been her father since she was 3. So now she's 10, about to be 11. And then I had a child, a daughter that's back in Birmingham. She is 23, with a son. So I do have I'm a grandfather as well.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah. As I just even listening to that, I mean, you about to just throw me into the interview. I have my way, but God has his way too. And just listening to the power of a blended family. And I understand that very well. My husband and I have been married for 28 years and we have a blended family. And I do understand that it's so much beauty in a blended family. And there's also a struggle as it relates to blended family. So I believe that you and your wife, from my experience in observation, have displayed, what it looks like to have a successful blended family, right? One that people can look at and model. So I would definitely say for you all, continue to do a great work. My husband in our book, Repair the Black Family, he actually talks about, the formulas to having a successful blended family. And we never, like, for us, we never separated. It's all one thing. You understand? It's all one thing. We came in blended, but we became one, or we're becoming one family, like we are in the Nation of Islam. We're one family. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Brother Fard, I brought you on here, as you can see, that this podcast is focused on healing, right? And I know that a lot of people know, and if they don't know, they know the soldier in you, okay? But we all got our, what I call it like this, that past life, that life before Islam, okay? Tell me a little bit about, like, let us know, Brother Fard, before Islam. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yes. Before Islam, I was what they would call, a street nigga, a gang banger, a dope dealer. So I was all of that from the early age of 10, 11 years old. That was my life journey because my parents were in the streets. Um, my cousins, uncles, everybody, pretty much everybody on my dad's side was in the streets. Everybody except his mother and his father. But everybody else, all the children, all their children, we was all in the streets. So and my neighborhood was heavily impacted, which was the west side of Birmingham, Alabama, was heavily impacted with drugs and gang violence and like shootings and all of that. That took place regularly. And it's still like that to this day. Um, so my life, that was that. So my journey towards Islam was a journey of the streets and what come with the streets. What come with the streets is jail, prison, that comes with it. And so I went through those hurdles. I went through those obstacles up and down, up and down. And my homeboys, I still have homeboys that's in prison now. I still have some that got life without, have some even on death row, so that are like my immediate homeboys. We went to elementary school together. We went to middle school together. We went to high school together. So that was that. But every time as I look back, every time I went, especially when I started going to the county jail, and I started going to the county jail at the age of 17, the first time I went to the county jail. And that's when I can clearly say, well, I had a brush with Islam before then when I was like 15, strong brush. It was right after Million Man March. And I was in juvenile serving a year, as they call it, a SJO, serious juvenile offender. A year was a max that you could get. And I was serving a year for a robbery first degree case. And one of the staff members who would be considered a correction officer, he was a supporter and a sympathizer of the nation. And one Saturday after the Million Man March, he brought the VCR cassette tape and played it while we supposed to be watching football. And that was like my first real encounter that I can remember with the nation. But I have always had I guess some type of feel of love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I never knew where this come from until I didn't find that out where that came. That came from my mother because she joined the nation in like 74.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know this until I'm like 30. I did not know nothing about this. Her mother didn't talk about it. My father didn't talk about it. Her sisters and siblings didn't talk about it because they was all Christian. They just left that out. But I found Islam in 2012, but 2014, I found this out. You know what I'm saying? But every time I went on the adult case, I would have a different brush with Islam, and I would get closer and closer to being an actual member. And I never knew, like, why do I love Farrakhan so much? It was my mother. She put that in me, I believe, because I was born in 81. March of 81. So we know the dates, right? March the 20th of 1981 is when I was born. So that was about 3 weeks after the minister did the first Savior's Day of the rebirth of the nation. And I truly believe that my mother, while I was still in the womb, watched that lecture.
Wow.
Because I never know what I cannot tell you the first time I even heard his name, seen him, but I have always had a love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It was kind of like how he said that even him, when you go back to his life, on how he had a love for Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm saying? Because it was put in his face, but I had this love for him, and I cannot tell. I was even like 12 when the Malcolm X movie came out, and I didn't believe it. I was at 12, 11. I was like, man, the nation ain't do that. I'm telling you, I was saying that. And I'm wild, but I'm like, man, I don't believe that. Because I'm in juvenile. I'm seeing how this government let the system handle us, and we 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. These grown men, grown women, they you know what I'm saying? They was brutal. So I was like, nah, I don't believe that. No, wow. I just didn't believe it.
Wow.
We found out that belief was right because we didn't have nothing to do with that. But anyway.
Period. So, and as I listen to you and I never knew that. So thank you for sharing that. As I listen to you, it really shows that you was born for this mission. Like you was shaped for the mission. It was predestined for you. So it gets me to understand a little bit more about your drive because it's in you, it's not on you,
Yes,
right? Some people, you know, they come in, they learn, okay, and then they do and they move accordingly, right? But when it's in you, like it's like it was shaped in the womb of your from your mother, the essence of her seeking knowledge, seeking, you know, truth, seeking, you know, the word of God was already imprinted on you.
yes, ma'am.
And so now you go through this life, you have your journey, you know, and I, like I say, I call it my past life, right? Pre-Islam. And we have our experiences, we have our encounters, we have our ups and downs, and you know, our throws and falls with that life. As you look back on that lifestyle, right? What is the one thing that you could say you took from that lifestyle and made it righteous? Because it was a principle that you can add to your new life.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe a few things. I know it was definitely the G code, what we would call the G code, and it was definitely the whole death before dishonor.
Mm.
And because I grew up in an area where you could not tell on the homies. If we get caught, you got to take it, right? You can't come back to the hood. Whatever gang we was in, we couldn't go switch up. We call that a flip flop. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't be GD, get locked up, and then now I come out, I'm a Crip, I'm a Blood. We didn't tolerate that. We didn't play that. So those are the principles. Like you have to stay. Like some of us come to the nation and we stay with the minister. We stay with the Most Honorable Muhammad because we got a gain. But then when that gain is met, we leave. So you're not really loyal to his work or to the man. So that shaped me to let me know whatever I go through in the nation, I'm with Farrakhan. I don't care whatever I deal with this person, this believer, this labor, this official. None of that matters to me. I'm with as long as the minister is the minister. He saved my life. He came in the belly of the beast and brought me out of there. So I'm with him regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's just how I'm wired. But it's that mentality from a youth that actually helped shape me and groom me like that. Because when you was talking, I was like, well, I never had, I never was really a loner. I never was really just an individual. I always ran with a group, with a clique. I always had that. I was always part of that. So even when I come to Islam on this journey, I left GD and walked away from their camp, or they camp as it's called in the federal prison system, right? And I couldn't just stay by myself. I could not do it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. So I went on to the nation because I'm trying to be righteous over here with them, but I'm trying to mix the two. I'm trying to be righteous on one end because we don't want the drama and all of that. I'm trying to go home. Then at the same time, we gambling, we smoking, drinking. We doing all this stuff here. We trying to get drugs in, but I'm still trying to duck the violence in there. You feel what I'm saying? So it didn't mix. So when I came to the nation, my awesome trainer, man, I had a beautiful mentor, a beautiful trainer that trained me into the mentality of an FOI. And we did this in prison. And he was from Washington, D.C., born and raised in the nation. Family was in the nation. Mama was MGT, father FOI. All his brothers was in the nation as well. He trained me, and he used to say this at Juma. He would open up. He'd get her, he'll call the names, and he'll always say, we in the nation of Islam, we don't tolerate nothing hot. And he would say this every single Friday. But now in the feds, hot means you done snitched on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, this supposed to be like a religious group. He's saying, we don't accept that. If you done told on your homies, you done told on your community, we don't accept you in the nation of Islam. You can't be a stool pigeon. You can't be a turncoat, right? We don't accept, because you'll do us the same way. So no, we can't have no equal liberty or friendship with you. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. But he used to say that, so that would just hit me every time. And then we'd be looking around the room. We'd be like, okay, who coming back next week? You know what I'm saying? So but that was that, and that was my journey into it. So death before dishonor. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And what they call the G code, you never turn on your friends. You never talk to authority that a detriment, put somebody else in detriment, especially based on something you did, you was with. If I'm with it, it don't matter if I'm the trigger man or not, I'm the planner or not. If I'm with it, I get caught, I got to take that. You know what I'm saying? Because I shouldn't have been with it. I should have been with it. That's just how that go, right? So that's one of the things. So now I bring that over here in the righteous context. I'm with the Nation of Islam. I'm with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm with the Most Honorable Muhammad. I'm with Master Fard Muhammad. I believe in everything that has been taught. I believe in what the minister say before he say it. I already believe it. I ain't had to hear it. If I ask you, did the minister say that? Right. Once you prove it to me, he said it black and white. Oh, this is a video. All right, cool. All right. Ain't no debating that. I ain't ever for debate. You know what I'm saying? Period. So
hey, listen, I ain't grow up by the death before dishonor, right? But I did have a G code, so I'm gonna go ahead and clap this up for you. Okay. Especially when we talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. You know, I grew up in a community, and it was a little different for me, Brother Fard, but I can relate, right? I can't truly understand your walk because I didn't walk that walk, but I can relate because when I came up in the neighborhood, you know, we was, it's like your homegirls, right? They fight, you fight. Even if you're not a fighter, you gonna fight. You gonna jump in that fight, right? And so, you know, who you roll with, that's your crew. So I didn't have a large crew, but still to this day, I that's my crew. Even though I don't roll with them, but our past experiences never disconnected, if that makes sense, right? So I want to say this, that when I look at that lifestyle, I took that fight from where I would fight women and, you know, be about the fight, the fighting. My thing was fighting, right? That I fight for Islam. So that totally rung with me. I know how to fight righteously now. So the passion to have freedom, justice, and equality, and regardless to whom or what, I'm gonna fight for this. So that's why I said I can relate. I may not truly understand your walk, but I can relate. And I'm sure as we're having this heart-to-heart fireside chat, that those that's listening, whatever your lifestyle has been, right, or is, you can turn that. You can turn that lifestyle, you can make it righteous, because sometimes people don't want to come to our structure because they feel like they got to give up something. No, you just change it, right? You change it. And there are things you give up. But what I'm saying is you let go of that which have strongholds on you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Be able to bring it under a structure to have freedom, justice, and equality. And as I transition to the next phase of our conversation, I want to just ask you one last question as it relates to this particular aspect in your personal journey. How did you know what was your pivotal moment? Like you knew, okay, I'm all in. Like you said, I've always been all in, but that pivotal thing, that thing that you was like, I'm about to get under the structure, and that's what it is, and I'm never leaving again.
Well, when I was in the feds on this, because you asked me the question, I've been officially registered since 2017, 9 years, but unofficially, I kind of been in the nation since. I've really been in the nation since like 05, 06. And then again, you can say in what was that, in 2012. You know what I'm saying? So really, this journey I'm on right now really started in 2012. So it's really like a 13, 14 year process. But I'm in the feds. And then there, the nation stopped approving the new names, the new people register, because you'll get out, you'll have to go through it all over again or whatever like that, which was understandable. This is the time that I'm coming in. So since 2012, the mentality of a FOI, I didn't had it since 2012. So what really the pivotal moment for me was, as I'm in the feds, this is 2012, I'm with the GDs, right? So in the feds, they have what they call cars or cliques, right? So you either with your state or you with a gang, right? Either one. So I know about the nation. I was studying. I think I read Message to the Black Man. I'm in a Florida prison now, down in Somerton County, but I came from prison in Mississippi called Yazoo City, right? So I came there from there. And as I'm in there, I go, I didn't do the state time because I didn't really trust them and didn't really like them. So I was a real, like, whatever I am, I'm real about it, right? So if we didn't get along on the street, we not finna get along in jail. That's just how it is. So I was one of them. So I was more like the real Mexican gangs. I was one of them. I had that type of mentality. Like, okay, I'm GD. We beef with Crips. We beef with Bloods. In jail, we ain't gonna just become cool all of a sudden. Our hood's beefing in the street. We were just fighting in the county jail. But this is, that's what they do. So I never got on the state time. So I can't rock. Well, I'm from Birmingham. I can't rock with the Mobile dudes. I can't rock with Montgomery because in our state prison, this is who we beef with, right? So I didn't do that. So okay, so I'm saying I'm keeping it real, keeping it, loyal. So the GDs turned on me. So what happened? Something happened. There was a hit put out on a vice lord on the yard, and I got chose to carry out the hit. And it was a bad decision on my part because I put myself in the box, brother, right? Because I was in charge, but I got out of it. I got out of the post because I didn't want to work with a certain brother out of Indiana. I didn't want to work with him. I didn't want to be with him no kind of way for real, right? So I gave up the post. And I shouldn't have did that. It was a terrible mistake because they gave it to another brother, but he the one sent me and like 2 more brothers to go and do something to this vice lord. So we go do it on the yard in front of everybody. When the police come and they send the alarm and the sirens, like you see on jail, it's real. They drop bombs and make a big noise. They got the pellet guns and the rifles and all of that. Yeah. So when that's going on, me and another brother from Chicago, we from the streets. It's something when the police come, we know it's time to go, get away. So we go and blend in with everybody else because everybody got the same clothes on, right? So we go blend in with everybody else. The cameras don't work, so they can't pick us out, and none of the inmates told on us. So they just start snatching up heads in GD. Okay, you a head, we know you, we got your record. They didn't even have my record. They didn't even know I was GD per se on record, right? So they ain't pulling records and saying I'm a GD member. They didn't know that. So that saved me. And the next thing I know, they tried to put a hit on me because I didn't get caught. So I was like, oh, well, I was like the wise man tries with Moses. I said, well, I said, hold up now. I said, well, this is the departure of me and you, because I only got 9 years and 7 months. And at this point, I got less than 5 years before I come home.
Right.
But y'all didn't partner me up with a brother got 50 years, and the other brother, he got 25 years. So I got far more to lose because it's a long time for they finna even think about getting out, right? So, but you didn't send me with them, and I'm the shortest of the crew. Like, how you send me with less than 5 years to go? Like, how was I even picked? You know what I'm saying? That let me know right there. They wasn't concerned, they weren't considering, they didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And then they tried to flip it on me and try to maneuver to take me out. But I peeped it. Because I was always, that what kept me alive in the streets. I was always paying attention to detail. Because one of the ones who was the head, he was out of in Illinois. He got snatched up. He did about a week in the hole. They let him out. When he came out, I saw him. Soon as he come out, I saw him on the yard. And I go approach him, and his whole vibe was, oh, they got something against me. I'm like, oh, I can already see this. I already knew because his vibe was just off. But he talking to somebody, not even GD. His vibe ain't off with him, but it's off when he see me. But he by himself. So he ain't really want no smoke with me by himself. You know what I'm saying? So boom, the next day, because I used to be the chief of, I used to be over the over security. I used to be the enforcer of the law. That's the post I walked out of. Every morning I come out for breakfast. And I would always go and scan the yard to check out the atmosphere if it's any tension or whatever like that. You have to check this out in the feds, right? I would do that. And they had a pavilion where some TVs was at on the yard. So I'm just doing my perimeter check, what I did every morning, right? And they up under there, about 6 of them. and I'm the only one that didn't know that they was up under there. So who they talking about? I ain't no damn fool. You know what I'm saying? So it was obvious who they talking about because I didn't even know they were there. It wasn't like I was late. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know they was there. Then when he seen me, he like, oh man, come on over here. Brother, you ran on the folk. I was like, oh, what, ran? So I was like, okay, so how I'm gonna get out of this situation? So it just came a lot blessed to come out. But while this was all going on, I had went to Juma. And Brother Mahdi would always have the minister playing before he go into his cook bar. And then you already know, once you hear the minister for the first, second, third, fifth, 100,000 times, it seemed like he's gonna always be able to grab you. You sit and listen, he's gonna grab you and have you just like in a state of what they call that, hypnotized. You're gonna be hypnotized. You can't even move. And that was it. And from that point on, that was the split came, and I left them, went to the nation, been in the nation ever since.
Wow. All right, family, you are listening to the Heal on Purpose podcast. We want to thank you so very much as you are tuning in. If you just joined us, we have our dear brother Fard Mahdi out of Saint Petersburg, Florida. He's a representative in the Nation of Islam. He's not the average, okay? He is above average with his work, and we're going to dive deeper into that. I want to make sure that you understand that you can support this podcast with a monetary gift by Cash App and $ Naira19 or in Zelle at ALNAJM33705 at yahoo.com. So we can continue to bring you powerful podcasts that you can actually take and apply to your life. Now, back to our beloved guest, Brother Fard Mahdi, who has definitely taken us on a journey with what he are, and we want to know where he's going. Now, Brother Fard, you are in the Nation of Islam. You're now married 7 years, excuse me, upcoming 7 years, you're about to be married. You have 6 beautiful children. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and a grandchild. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that a strong family is the foundation for a strong nation. Tell us about your journey from transitioning now, from you having this lifestyle, now you in the nation, and now you're married. Give us a little peep into that lifestyle.
Well, I mean, the transition has always been, it is a struggle, and marriage is a struggle, but we strive to keep Allah at the center and our family first, and the community is when you get into the marriage, this is for the brothers, for it's the communication barrier of the different natures, the different mentality, the different perspective that you and your wife have to get a grip on just to be able to really move forward, whatever like that. So that becomes a struggle, and then other things that we go through, we didn't had failing businesses, we didn't had this, we didn't been targeted by the regulators. So we didn't had a lot to deal with over the last 2 years plus years, right? And we're finding our way together, but we are striving to be better towards one another. We pray, we do these things and strive to do these things together along with the other things that we have to do, because we homeschool our children. I'm trying to launch a new business. I'm still not, I haven't turned down or toned down everything we've been through. I haven't stopped the first work, which is pushing the cause of Islam. I haven't done none of that. I have took on additional roles to even help the cities, Tampa and St. Pete, just to help us, because that's what it's all about. As I listened at the minister, whenever he was going through anything, he always would say, I never stopped striving. When I couldn't afford the new suit, when I had holes in my shoe, and I had to walk from my home 4-5 miles to the mosque as the captain and the student minister, regardless on what he was going through, he never stopped striving to do and uphold the mission. So I kind of take that on firsthand. So it was a real transition, but it was envisioned. You have to have a vision. I knew I was going to be married to MGT. This was one of the goals coming in, and me coming home. I accomplished that in like 3 years. It didn't even take a full 3 years. I was married, being home, because I set my mind to it. I had to be financially free. I had to do these things. I wanted sons. I wanted children. You know what I'm saying? And ironically, even in my dead state, I always wanted at least 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. You know what I'm saying? And the children that me and my wife have had together, that's what we had. No, we got 1 girl and 3 boys. But then we have, the other 2 girls. So out of the 6, it's still 3 and 3. 3 girls,
Oh,
3 boys. And the girls are the oldest and the boys are the youngest. So it's beautiful when you look at it like that, because that meaning my vision is coming to fruition. It is becoming a thing. Like when I was in prison, I was like, hey, I got to wear a suit every day. So how am I going to do that? But when I came home, I wasn't able to do that. I had to go and work those construction jobs. I had to go work at the labor union. I had to do all those things. And I had to be selling the Final Call newspaper like 7 days a week. I used to sold 7 days a week back in Birmingham. 6 days. I'd take out probably Sunday. That'd be it. And that was just some weeks. Most weeks it was 6 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes 7, because I had to get it. And I had to be free. I couldn't have nobody doing that because I just been caged for 9 years. I can't come out here and be caged somewhere. So it was all of that. So to take that on, to move out of a city and move to Tampa with a wife now, my first thing was I had to get her off of her job. That was the first thing. Okay, how can I get her off of her job? You know what I'm saying? So it just happened. COVID happened within our first year of being married, with the full first year. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of helped. And it's a struggle at best, but it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? And it's great. You know what I'm saying? Because my wife, she's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? She is my best friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we are to do those things, but we never get the name called. We never go to that point. But it's a beautiful thing to do it with you, because we share. Because when we went through courtship, it was just certain things that was laid on the table, and we both aligned with that.
mm.
So you know what I'm saying? And now we don't have those problems. You know what I'm saying? We both wanted our children homeschooled. We was okay with that. We didn't have to argue about that. You know what I'm saying? We neither one of us like pets. We didn't have to argue about that. It ain't like I got to compromise. I don't want no dog running around my house. You know what I'm saying? So
Hey,
that's me. You know
I understand.
what I'm saying? So yeah, so it is a journey. That has been the transition. It's a shift for the mindset, because me growing up, and still coming out of the streets, we didn't have to take care of the women we was dealing with like how we have to do with a wife, a righteous wife, and stay righteous in the midst of that. So we didn't have to do with that. You know what I'm saying? As long as we bought certain things, did certain things, our main girl or whoever was comfortable, was good, was great on that tip. We could just buy things. Well, you can't do that with an MDT.
No,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? So it's a
Maintain
different
us, brother.
the different other mentality, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's good because I understand that she is there to help me grow into the man and the God that God want me to be. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's her, and I know she was just how everything lined up, that we was meant and truly for each other in that sense, because of the things that had taken place and some of the things that we know about numbers, birth dates, and all this stuff here. So
Mhm.
it's a journey, you know what I'm saying? It's a transition of the mentality, because back then if I was in Birmingham, I ain't staying with nobody, whatever. I don't have to go home at a certain time. I can hang out 12, 11 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night, even being in the mall. I wouldn't be in the club or nothing. It might just be out, whatever. It's the city, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have to go home. I wouldn't have to tell somebody I'm coming home here. I didn't see, now I have to do those things. So I didn't have to do that. So I had to tell her about when I'm coming home. I got to get her an ETA on the estimate when I leave on what time you be. Well, I've got to be back tonight, this is the third. If something go out of why, I got to communicate with her. And we have had that issue in the past where I wasn't doing that, and it really was disturbing her. You know what I'm saying? So we had to get counseling for that and all that. So, it's a journey. So I had to shift my mind. So now I had to be like, okay, I got to text her, well, baby, I'll be home within the next hour. I'll be home at 7:38. So I had to do that and keep her in communication. And it's not answering it just that, but that eases her. She gave me the reason to that, but I had to still shift my mentality. You know what I'm saying? Which was a great shift. If I've been, do what you want to do, your life, then you come to Islam, it's not, but it's structure, it's discipline, it's organized. And that's what we need to live. We need that. Because whenever you just doing what you want to do and it ain't really structured, it ain't really organized, that's when you run into problems.
Absolutely. That's what makes it a strong family, not just family. See, there's a difference between a strong family and having a family. So when you have structure, you have discipline, you have organization, you have communication, here's the key word that you said, Brother Fard, that I really, really appreciate is alignment, right? You have alignment in your marriages. And a lot of us is just, we're out of order, right? We don't have, those who don't have that type of structure or some sense of, like the Bible say, do everything. Allah does everything in decency and order, right? Even in the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, there's a structure. It's God, man, woman, right? So there's a structure. And when we find ourselves in divine alignment, then we see that the marriages work better, right? And then that whole checking in process, that's security, because the woman must be made secure, right? So when people understand that, then it flows easier. Yeah, let me text my wife or text my husband, or those time, that kind of check and balance. Because I know for me, being married 28 years, just my husband communicating, okay, if he's 5-10 minutes late, who knows, he could have had an accident, whatever. Now it's like, okay, something is off here, right? And women, we lead into our intuition, so it better helps us clock that, if I can use that language.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to move on to another part, but I do want to ask this one. I believe as the listening audience is listening, I always like to give the audience something that they can walk away with in our conversation that they can apply. For a person that has never heard of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, married couple or in relationships, never heard of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and has heard of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and is in a marriage, striving to bring in a blended family, have a strong family. What would, and I know and we know that the minister's words is medicine. What would be that one lecture that would help to bring that family unit together that you would recommend that our audience listen to?
I would recommend for that, I would say the roles relationship, and also I forgot it. I think it's the marriage relationship. I think it's one he did in the 80s, and then that one he did in Successful Marriage, and also the roles, the one he did in 96 when he had all of the officials there with their wives, and that one. I think it's called The Roles. Roles in Marriage, maybe, but it's on both of them on YouTube. Both of them really. If you study those and really listen, because in the roles, it's very critical that everybody gets in their role for the family, right? And that's where most problems come in. That, you know what I'm saying, we have roles and we should play them. Not that we won't help each other out when we're feeling I have a weakness in our role, but it's, because like they say, they have this whole, for instance, they had this whole 50-50 thing, right? Between the man paying the bill, the woman paying the bill. Well, we know in Islam, the man's supposed to pay all of the bills, right? However, it is a balance and it is an understanding. If y'all in it together and this is for the sisters who getting married, that's not for you to withhold what you could do or bring to the table if he's having a problem, because it's hard on the black man. If he start a business, these things take time to get up. If he had to go, he in between jobs, that don't mean you don't come cover down and help him now, because it's you in the house too. But when the roles is being met, see, a lot of us get that thing to say with a woman, they might take it and say, well, I don't supposed to pay no bill. You just got to figure it out. Well, that's an extra burden on him, because y'all supposed to be in this together, working as a team. Now, when he get to that point, that don't supposed to last forever. No, of course not, right? But at a particular time, you might have to help out. You might have to bring in extra income to help him or whatever. Especially in this economy. Oh, Lord, geez. You know what I'm saying? In this economy, what we're going through right now, we may have to help out, but it has to be an alignment of teamwork. It has to be this alignment in that and understanding that we have these goals and what we are trying to accomplish. So we need family goals, then we got individual goals, we need Mars goals, nation goals. You know what I'm saying? So we got to have, it's a lot on our plate being in the nation. But if you just need guidance in your marriage, you're not per se in the nation, you still should go and listen to those 2 lectures, because the minister has a successful marriage for over 70 years.
Come on now.
He's going to tell you exactly what you need to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And really, if you listen at him, it kind of make it easy where you'll get the success probably quicker than he got the success, because he's giving you the trials and the struggles on how he had to adjust, how he had to be that. You know what I'm saying? So those are the 2, the roles in marriage and the successful marriage. Those are 2 separate lectures. I would say both of those.
Praise be to Allah. Listen, family, you are listening to the Heal on Purpose podcast with Sister Nayera and Brother Fard Mahdi out of Saint Petersburg, Florida. And the title of our show is Making Our Community a Decent and Safe Place to Live, which is a national agenda of the Nation of Islam. And as we are transitioning in this conversation, I want to touch on 2 points, Brother Fard. One, definitely want to touch on making our community a decent and safe place to live, which is a national agenda and how that relates locally. And I want to also touch on our youth. So before we actually go into the entirety of making our community a decent and safe place to live, I've seen you do a lot of work with the youth and understanding more of you now in your healing journey, coming from that lifestyle into the Nation of Islam. It helps me, and I'm sure the audience is getting the insight into the man that we're interviewing today and your passion for the youth. The youth is in danger right now. This is my viewpoint, right? It's a dangerous society when we're looking at the youth and what's happening as it relates to drugs, gangs, police brutality. We can just dot this thing, right? Mental health is definitely, a button with our youth. What I'm finding, even as a parent of young adult children, in particular, the male child, don't know how to deal with their mental health, right? They're turning to what I've observed just throughout my family and working in the community and working abroad, the coping or the confronting with problems, most of them are turning to the marijuana. Mm-hmm. They're turning to the dots. What I see more prevalent than anything is marijuana, to the point it's almost like they're numb and this is the thing to do. How has your work impacted that pandemic and the other things that our youth is facing in today's time period?
Well, the main thing that, we have to do, and this is for everybody, men and women, we have to be an example. You can teach the youth and they will listen, but you can't talk at them. You got to talk to them, but not at them. So you can't go to them if you want them to listen to what you got to say or anything, condemning what they're doing. And what makes me effective with that is, in my mind, I'm still one of them. I just have a righteous, mentality. I just have taken on a guide and submit to the guide. But in my mind, I'm still one of them. I'm still like I'm 16, 17 years old, but you have to let them be themselves. But the real issue, though, Sister Naira, which is a great question, is that they have to feel that you genuinely really love them and care about them. Because most of the time they don't get that. They don't get that at school. They don't get that in the homes. That's why they will go and do those things. So when they go home, they're pain. And then a lot of them are actually going to to the marijuana, the smoking. A lot of them smoking vapes too. They're going to that because it's really a peer pressure. Because so many of them are doing it, they want to feel like it's cool as anything. Let me do this here. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have, most of the young males, they don't have a strong role model in front of them. Because if they do have a father in their life, maybe he vaping. So it's going to be hard to tell him not to do it and he doing. Maybe he's smoking weed. Maybe the mama has a boyfriend and the boyfriend doing. So these things happening because they're looking at the male role model and they want to fit in. They want to feel, they want to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to take a youth and say, go and be yourself, and he's unalike or unaccepted, whatever like that, you know, because you got bullying going on in the schools. All of this stuff in the school system itself is not groomed to, the education system doesn't bring out it doesn't cultivate the gift or the talent of the youth. So now they're just going somewhere just to go because my parent made me go. So we have a lot of them in St. Pete saying that they finna join the military. Like I done met a lot of them sitting out here right there on 1813 that walk by there going to the buses saying that they are joining the military, the United States government military, right? And I'm warning them, I'm dropping the seed on them. Don't do that. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're not going to survive this final war. So don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not your way. Come here, what we got to say or whatever. So I also see this too. It's cool when we got a program once a week or whatever. That's cool. You're going to affect the change. You affect their thinking, right? But to affect a change on a broader scale, we got to have institutions that they can come to daily, every day. Why? Because if I only get with them an hour, 2 hours, even 3 hours on a Saturday, on a Wednesday, on a Sunday, what about the rest of the 164 hours? They ain't getting nothing like this at home. So we need institutions. So we have to go and get money. We have to go and get capital to fund these institutions because it's not in, no organization has it where these youth have something every single day. Now you have some that got maybe 2 days, 3 days. Churches have programs, but it's still more of the same norm. You know what I'm saying? They need even the rec center. The rec center don't do stuff that cultivate it. That's just a place for them to go and play to be unsupervised. For real. You know what I'm saying? There's no thing. And now they want to say basketball. Well, everybody don't want to do that. What about the ones that don't want to do that? What about the ones who want to rap? What about the ones who want to be social media influencers? What about the ones who want to be in art and all these other things that they want to do? Well, they ain't getting that at the rec center. They just getting ball at the rec center. They play football, basketball. Well, everybody ain't athletic. And only a handful of them is going to make it. But on the real sense, the NBA and the NFL finna be destroyed anyway. So that ain't no thing to be sent. There ain't no future in that. You know what I'm saying? And when it's a small percentage of black athletes even make it in the pros anyway. So that ain't even no thing to do. Well, we got to keep them occupied. Yeah, we got to keep them occupied with something that give them more tangibles to be able to navigate through life. So they need training. They need the discipline. They have to have the military drill. They have to know how to make money without having to ask somebody for a job, how to go and sell a product that won't get them killed or get them locked up. They have to see that, but they got to get that from successful people. You know what I'm saying? They have to know how to go and start a business on the legit way. You feel me? How to do these things. These are the trainers that they need. But in the overall sense, what they need something that they can do daily. Because they go to school, it's nothing. They go back home, it's nothing. Then you get them for 4-5 hours. Well, you're not watching the others 160 some days out. You helping. And then because he might have to get to a point, or she get to a point where something happens and it triggered what you said. It triggered some of the training they get. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that does happen. That happens with all of us. But most of our youth, when we don't have these institutions for them daily, and these systems and these programs for them daily, well, some of them still gonna have to hit their head and learn from experience. As we call, what is it called? Bulk knowledge. They're gonna have to go and experience it themselves, get shot up, go to jail, lose friendship, be homeless, be broke. They're gonna have to go through that themselves because we don't have the institution in the community, and our environment is set up just to do that because the enemy know the more we have to buy that experience and go through it themselves, only a small percentage of them will survive and be a threat to the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Most of them going to get wiped out. Most of them is going to suffer from drugs. Most of them is going to suffer from the gang violence, as we seen right in St. Pete, right in Child Park. 2 years ago, we had 2 11-year-olds get killed by a 14-year-old. So we just lost 4 in that scenario. Because the ones who survived or did it, he affected the rest of his life by this being on him, right? Then it was 2 11-year-olds affected. So those families, these are 4 families affected by this. The rest of their life, they're affected by this. You know what I'm saying? And that just these scenarios that I just vaguely remember this happening right in South Park. You know what I'm saying? Months apart from each other. So these are the things that we have to put in place. We have to come together, and us in the conscious community or the religious communities, we can no longer not support one another. We can no longer not say, oh, don't deal with the Muslim. Well, what you have, the Christianity might ain't strong enough to change him, but what we have might be strong enough to change him and make him better, make her better. What you got might not be strong enough, so don't deter them away from us. But we're just trying to save as many people as possible, and the youth are our primary target is the youth, right? Is the youth. So these are the things that has to take place, and that's what we strive to do in the Nation of Islam, and that's what our agenda is. You know, even coming out of Mars 95, that's our agenda, is the youth. We gotta save them. We gotta put things in place for them on a consistent basis, and it ain't talking about they gotta come and be a member with us. No, that ain't what we doing. It's bigger than that. No, that ain't what we doing. We not that. We know that they already Muslim, and we know that the FOI-MGT military structure is not for everybody. Everybody's not going to submit to that. Some will, but most won't. But they can still benefit from what we know, the training, the discipline, the how to eat to live. See, these are all discipline things that'll change that. See, if a person gets disciplined, that's why we encourage to fast. That's why we invite everybody to come fast with us. Do these things because it'll help you reject the unnatural things and help you get this. Will help me get off of. I used to smoke weed, drink alcohol, pop pills. I used to do these things, but what helped me? When a desire for that had to be killed. You feel what I'm saying? So I used to want to get rich selling drugs because that's what I saw. So once I couldn't play ball, I'm like, well, I got to sell dope if I'm going to get this $1 million, $10 million. I got to sell dope. But when I come into the knowledge of myself and actually studying what's going on, I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. I can create a business. I can create a corporation. I can create a network that could get me the millions. But I got to, not just me. How can I help and impact more people? And I'm taking care of on the back end. So my main goal is to create millionaires. It ain't just about me. Because if I'm hurting, that ain't gonna change the condition. Because if I'm good and rich, that ain't gonna just change the condition of us as a people. As the minister told us way back in 1991, he said we need billions to solve the black man economic woes and problems, right? In our communities, in America, right? That was 30-something years ago. We're talking about almost 40 years ago. He said that, billions. And as we see the downfall of the dollar, the losing of the purchasing power of the dollar right now. So if that was 30 plus years ago, he said that it was billions then, we talking trillions now.
Wow.
So who's gonna set their mindset out to get it for the whole though and come back with it? That's why they fear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and us who are real students of him. We got to know that, hey, all this stuff we want to do, all this stuff, yeah, we want to help, but we got to finance it ourselves. The bank ain't finna give you no money for no healing on purpose. They ain't
Wait a minute now. I know you're right on that one.
They ain't finna give me no money for the NMB Elite Group, MACD Squad, Youth Program. They ain't finna give me no money for that. When they see, oh, this what you, man, we ain't giving you no money for that. We want you to struggle. Because we knowing your people won't support you like they supposed to. So either you're going to run away from the idea or you're going to have to go and do something else. Why? Because you can keep it as an idea, but just keep it as an idea. Go do something else. Why? Because you ain't gonna be able to sustain your family doing that, because your own people will not even support you like they should. You know what I'm saying? Or like they could. You feel me? Just think about it.
You.
How can I go to jail and pick up the phone, have a $2,000-$3,000 bond? Or how can I be late on a bill, pick up a phone, need $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and people send it? But here I come up with this business plan, right? And the person will, I got to look at it. Man, you just sent me $3,000 to get me out of jail, but you won't send $3,000 to come be in the business or help this business. You won't do that. See, we suffer from the lack of knowledge of self, and for us to make. Oh, you ain't went to that question about
that. Yeah. Let me. All praises due. All praises due to like you on point, Brother Fard, and I can feel your passion, and as the listening audience is listening to you today, and as you all are hearing points that make sense, and you can agree with, you can show your support just by making a comment, right? Just by helping us spread this truth, putting truth on the lines, right? As I'm listening to you, Brother Fard, I want to first give honor to my mother and father, and in particular, my mother and my daddy, and in particular, my daddy, right? Because I'm hearing your story, and you're talking about we need an institution. It is necessary that we need institutions, because just a girl like me, and I'm still a daddy's girl to this day, and my daddy been gone over 20-something years of my life. This man left, but physically, but he's still here with me in my heart. But he left something in me, Brother Fard, from behind prison walls. That's how the repair of the Black family got started. It was me coming out of depression, me coming out of emotional trauma, and remembering some of the words that my daddy told me on his transition bed in prison. You understand? And one of the things that he said was, all of the men in my family could have made it, but we allowed drugs and alcohol and, crime to keep us from being, I'm gonna use this word, our best self, right? Our highest potential, right? But he said that from an institution. See, the enemy don't slow down. They double up. There's institutions that's going to house the Black man, any man, but in particular, there's a target on the Black men.
That's right.
So you putting forth the word that we need institutions. We can't be spooky and not support something like that that's going to bring forth structure, discipline. And the key word that you said was training. We got to get back to training. I remember in school we had home economics and carpentry. All of that was training, right? And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the teaches us through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, do for yourself or suffer the consequences. Our people are destroyed from the lack of knowledge. We're suffering from the consequences of not doing for ourselves. So we need institutions. Now, as I'm listening to you, because there's a lot of great people out here doing a lot of great things, right? When I came into the Nation of Islam as a young woman, I was attracted to the sisterhood and the brotherhood because of the military training, right? And watching my mother as a single mother trying to raise her two sons. She needed a structure. She needed a institution, but we didn't have access to that. So I watched my brothers go in and out of jail until my daddy left in prison. That's what stopped it, right? But my mom didn't have something to turn to. And I know it's women out here that they doing all that they know how to do, but they don't have that structure and they don't have that training, right? Or they may have access to programs that can't hold the mind of the young Black man in present time. Make sense? So in the Nation of Islam, we're taught, make all men and boys join the FOI. Why the FOI, Brother Fard? What does FOI mean? And why make all men and boys join the FOI? Even though they may not, but why Well, why would we be taught that, especially in 2026, dealing with our youth today?
Well, you know, the FOI is the fruit of Islam, and we're taught that the fruit is the best. But why we have to make them join and how join the FOI, it is because we are trained, disciplined men. We are trained soldiers, and soldiers carry out orders from another. And this will change the community overnight. This is what's needed. And like I said, the training ain't just for you to just be a Muslim per se or be in there, but it's the training that will change the condition of our community. This is why we have to make them, because this world is falling. So the new world is coming in. We got to be trained to make it. If we're not gonna even make it to see the new world, to see the new government that black people finna govern. We think this is real, and then we're not the only people that know this now. You right? So you have all type of people that's saying this now. Black people in America are the ones who can fix this country. But until our problem is fixed, until our flight is addressed, then it ain't going to be fixed. America's going down, and when it come back up, black people are going to be in power right here in America. That is just actual. That's just what's going to happen, because our enemy is he's Pharaoh. He's too big. He's too prideful. He too egotistic, especially with the president we got in there now. Lord, gee, he ain't finna, submit to nothing. So this is what's needed. So we have to be trained and train the community to survive. So make all men join the FOI. And then they say the second part, though, is train them fast.
Okay.
Right? We got to know how to fight. We got to know how to do this. We got to know how to maneuver. We have to do all of these things. We got to be able to think. See, you ain't going to win with emotions. You ain't going to win. That's why we say we soldiers over being a warrior. A warrior don't listen to another. He just move. Or she just move. I ain't on, that's them people. I'm spiritual. I ain't under no religious structure. Well, yeah, you're gonna get wiped out. Because that meaning you ain't with nobody, you don't have no backing, you don't have no group, you don't have no army, and you don't have no guide. If you think you're gonna if you think you're gonna beat America without a guide, then you crazy. Because our enemy is highly intelligent. As we just mentioned on Sunday, we just dealt with this topic at the Mars in Tampa on Sunday, right? And I closed out the meeting and we just dealt with that. And I just mentioned that the government have a department, listen at me closely, where they have almost $100 billion budget for information and research. And our people will see us. We got to go to the corner and force them to do it. We can come to your door. We can do all of this because we do all of this, right? But we get rejected, and the paper only costs $2 because most of our people say that's a Muslim paper. I'm a Christian. But now on the paper, it don't say nothing about no Muslim. It say the final call. So the question you need to be asked, why does it say the final call? That's the question you need to ask. Why does it say the final call once you tell us it's called? Because after this, when you don't see us no more, it's over. After you hear the minister going, after these things happen, there's no another teacher coming. The teaching is over. And our people got to realize that. That's why we, the FOI, we have to step up in the community to make it better, to show them that it can be done, to understand when this thing kicks off, and it already has, there's nobody else coming to teach us. It is on us.
That's right. Totally.
Because we've been given 3 supreme teachers, 3 of them. Master Fard Muhammad, but he was just a set up for the most honorable Muhammad, taught for 44 years that God is a man, that Jesus was black, all the prophets were black, and that we the real children of Israel. And now the bulk of our people still want to debate us that we all don't believe in Jesus. See, they're still saying the same thing. So it's so sad, because we can honestly say, but we still working to try to stop it, because that's a prophecy that don't have to happen. But we got so many of our people is not going to survive, Sister Nair, because of their own clutter, their own thinking, that false doctrine that got them looking back rather than looking in present time. None of the prophets in the Bible talk to black people. Not even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He did not teach one black person in America because it wasn't in existence. So if these books have any relevance to us today, then we should be looking where's the present Pharaoh? Where's the present Egypt? Where's the present Rome? Where's the modern Jesus? The modern Moses, the modern Aaron? Who are the modern children of Israel? That's a description of a people who fit that description now. So if we fit that description to the letter, to the T, then we are the ones who are going to receive not just Moses and Aaron, but we're going to receive God himself.
Hey, I'm just here. I'm just, you don't have to convert me over here because I feel like I'm about to raise my hand.
We got to understand that. So now us coming into the community to make it better.
Hold on, that one. I'm gonna get to that one.
We got to separate.
Yes,
we got to separate. We got to separate. Ain't no freedom, justice, and equality for any black person, any black group in America if we don't separate from the ruling government structure of America.
Period.
You can take that and say, I ain't racist. Okay, you stay under them. You're going to always be at the bottom. You're going to always suffer, and you will never get justice because it's against its nature to give you justice. That's why we had a black president for 8 years. And more black, unarmed black people got killed by the same law enforcement that we are so quick to call and run from under him than any other president. You can hate Donald Trump all you want, but more black people got killed by these same these law enforcers, these officers under Barack Obama. Not Clinton, not the Bushes, not Donald Trump. So what is that telling you? It is against the Caucasian nature to give us justice. But we do have some that will help us. But we'll get into that in a minute. All right.
Okay.
We do have some that will help us, though. I want everybody in the audience to know that, though. It is some other Caucasian race that will help us because they want to survive. They know the black man God. But they willing to help us because they know that's the only way they're going to survive if they're willing to help us.
And the messenger talks about that in Fall of America, so wow, that was a very powerful answer in which you gave us, understanding our work today. Listening to you, what came up in my mind was justifiable homicide by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So for those of you that may want more detailed information, there is a lecture series by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that's called Justifiable Homicide. And this actually helps us to understand our work today. That message is still relevant in 2026 as it relates to dealing and shaping our youth. And I'm going to put something up on the screen, but I just want to bring a little balance to the Nation of Islam and why training is so important. As Brother Fard so eloquently said, why it's necessary to make all men and boys join the FOI and train them up fast. For me, being in the Nation of Islam over 28 years of my life, coming under this structure, I did not know how to rear my children, right? How to take care of my home, how to take care of my husband, how to sew, cook, and in general, how to act at home and abroad. Does that make sense? How to keep house, how to rear my children, how to take care of my husband, how to sew, cook, and in general, how to act at home and abroad. Like, these are training units, right? That was given to us. And when you look at society today, the women can still benefit majorly from these training units. And we're taught that our home is our base, not our place, but our base. And your base have to be strong, right? Your foundation has to be strong, especially if you want to have a strong family because the Black family in particular is under attack. And the Nation of Islam has training classes. So don't be afraid to look into the training classes, right? To see what the Nation of Islam can offer you. That's not always under, like you got to join the Nation of Islam, but everybody can benefit from these training units, right? And so, Brother Fard, with that being said, just to bring balance, we have something for both men and women. And so, looking at your work today, in particular in St. Petersburg, Florida, I just want to put this up on the screen because we do only have a few more minutes on the podcast, but you have a great program, right? That for those women, or excuse me, those women and those women who have in families that have young boys, whether you're a single mother or you are a married couple or in a relationship, and you need, a structure, a training institution, which we're working diligently in the city of St. Petersburg to have this infrastructure that the men and boys can be trained under this type of training. Brother Fard is a trainer, a master trainer of men and boys. So we have a junior division where it's called Mahdi Squad number 95 Youth Training and Development Program in St. Petersburg, Florida. Yeah, hey, y'all know the summertime is coming up, right? Y'all know the summertime is coming up. You want something to do with your children, because as I was a young girl coming up, a lot of people lost their lives during the summer break, okay? So you want to give your children and your young men something to do, right? And it's free enrollment, and you can contact 727-342-2881. And I just want to back this up a little bit. It says free enrollment, right? That's what it says. So, call and verify if that's true. Call 727-342-2881. And he states on here, we will train in real skills, real discipline, and get real results. So don't think we're just on here talking about it. We're doing something about it. We're applying action to the word of God. So we want you to know right here in the city of St. Petersburg, and really the whole Tampa Bay area. You don't have to be just in St. Petersburg, but really the whole Tampa Bay area, with the focus intention on St. Petersburg, Florida. We want you to know that Fard Mahdi number 95, y'all got it. They have something.
Mahdi Squad. Mahdi Squad.
Mahdi Squad. Thank you. Okay. So, and everything complements one another. So, as we get ready to close out, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan this past Savior's Day gave a direction. And anytime he gives a direction, it's instruction, right? And it's not just for the Nation of Islam, it's really for the whole human family, if we really but understand. With a focus on the Nation of Islam, he gave directions on making our community a decent and safe place to live. This is a national agenda. How does that relate to the specifically St. Petersburg and the Tampa Bay area, Brother Fard, with the work that we're doing here? How does that national agenda play a part locally that our people can see that this is an action word, an action direction, and not something that we just clichéing as a nation?
Yes, ma'am. So this is one of the things that, so I'm gonna preface this with two phases, right? Yeah, Savior's Day, that's like a reinitiation. You know what I'm saying? A revive. Because he already had said that.
Absolutely.
Back in 2015, before Justice or Else, the Holy Day of Atonement, right? 10-10-15. That was that really that's what that was. That was a mandate. And all my brothers who are registered members, that has been a FOI mandate from once you read the meaning of FOI, for us to go in and set up these beachheads and take over the community in a righteous way, with righteous force, as we have seen previously. Back in the 80s, they took over a project in DC, the Dope Busters. They was called the Dope Busters. We have seen glimpse of it with the 10,000 Fearless, but this has been a mandate. So all of the brothers, we should feel like we're late. So we should be like, oh, do we got enough time? We got to move like, do we have enough time to do it? Because why? We already late. We didn't move when it was first initiated, for whatever reason. But God got mercy. The minister's still here. So we got time, right? But we don't know how much time. So we got to move even faster, harder, more strategic, more organized, more disciplined and consistent to that call. So when we are out with the Final Call newspaper, this is really the start of that, because it is the self-improvement. We got to work on the mind, because if we go and clean up the community today, for instance, it's just what we will see. If we go in the community, well, some of us may don't even live, and just say we just pick up all the trash. We're going to do this. And people in the nation do this. Some other groups do this too as well. We pick up the trash, but we don't educate the community on why it shouldn't even be no trash on the ground in the first place. So what you think going to happen within the next week or so? More trash back on the ground, right? So it is the knowledge of self and the teaching and the cardinal point and principle of all of the belief in the teaching of the Nation of Islam is that God is a man. The originator was a black man, and all of us are from him, and we represent him, right? We are descendants from the originator of the heavens and earth. Once we understand that, and that really unlock and click with us as a people, then making the community decent and safe is a byproduct. That'll happen overnight. But the first thing has to be that knowledge itself has to enter into the mind and do it. Now, us, on the other hand, we have to show that that knowledge is real, that this God is real in the tangible sense, in the physical sense. So we got to go and do the things that's not being done, along with continue to try to elevate them and educate them about themselves. That's all we doing, right? But this is what has to be done first for this to be made a reality. So when the community, talking to Saint Pete, talking to Tampa, when you see us talking to everybody across the country, because you have a big platform, when you see the FOI out there with the Final Call, you need to get it, because that's what started unlocking your mind, because you are getting your information from TikTok, Facebook, CNN, anybody who claimed to be something. You're not getting it from a free thinking black man, a black man that has sacrificed his entire life to see our rise. That's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So none of our information in the newspaper is tampered with and is verifiable. You can get it. You can go verify. But what you get from CNN, Fox, TikTok, ESPN, all these Zionist Jew controlled media platforms, that is falsehood mixed up with truth. So you ain't gonna know which way. You're gonna be confused. Man, what did I just hear? Did I do? You don't know, because you are getting it from the real deceivers. So you can't do that. You can only purge through that with the Final Call newspaper. Because look at what it say in the inside paper: a message dedicated to the resurrection of the black man and woman of America in the world. So the basis for community development, it go right back to that, is self-improvement. Self-improvement. We have to improve self. But to improve self, we got to improve our thinking. And we have many, many tools that can help us with that. And we know that the black man has a lot of trauma. That's why some of us are, and we have been instructed to go and get audited and go get these Dianetic courses. We need this administration. So all of us need this. You try to do anything, you need this administration. And the Church of Scientology has the skill and has mastered administration. So we need it, and we need to be audited, because we have a lot of what is called engrams sitting on our brain, and we don't know why we react a certain way when this happened and this happened. See, we don't even know why. But it's a tool to help us get out of that, right? So all of these elements we have to do. And that's why some of us go to the church and go and get audited and strive to go clear, I go clear because we want to be better. I want to be better at what I do. I know I have drama things that might be holding me back. Why I react like this? Why this upset me? Why this make me do this? Why I keep doing this here? Why when I say I'm gonna finna go upstairs and do something, I got to stop and do it? See all of these is there. See, these the things that this pull out. And we have experience because we have saying like, well, I was doing this. Now I started getting audited. I was like, man, I was moving more proficient. And what's happening? I don't even know what's happening. Right? I'm going over the courses. I'm like, yeah, that do make sense. I do need to do this. I want to be an executive. Well, I want to be a leader. Well, I need some type of leadership tech. I need this qualification. And we're students. I was just looking at some sisters out here and they talked about the best, the most successful men in the world. Always, I was like, wow, this was coming from an Indian. He a monk, and he a billionaire, right? He said the most successful men in the world that run the biggest corporations, that's any type of leadership that's successful, they always keep the mind of a student. I said, whoa. And the minister been telling us, I'm a student. This teacher been gone for what, for 50 years, 52, 53 years, been gone. But when he addressed us, he say, I'm a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean, of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then we said we're a student of him. But we reject things that we prejudge certain things before we even got the full data and been educated about something. And we go ahead and reject it. And as long as we continue to do that as a community, we're going to continue to suffer. We're going to continue to be in this condition because we have to be re-educated, retrained into the knowledge of who we really are, and we changing the community overnight. And it won't just be the Nation of Islam doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because when we get educated, people won't just pull up on music, man, I ain't going to get that. I'm a Christian. I'm a Hebrew. I ain't going to get that. You're going to say, no, we black. We from God. So you can keep the title all you want. If that make you better, that's what you want to be. But don't conflict with us. We have to unite and get away from the barriers. And they only imaginary. Because when we come down and you sit and talk with us, we got root knowledge. We don't have branch knowledge. Right? We're going to go to the root of everything that'll connect us. The root will connect us. And now we can work together and get out of that and save a dying people that's finna get wiped out. If we don't do this, we don't have a lot of time. So this is how we do that. So I know that was kind of long-winded, but
hey, that was powerful.
It's an exciting topic.
Yeah, that was powerful. We would definitely have to do a part 2. Because as you were speaking, Brother Fard, it's a lot of things that come up in my mind and in my heart. And I want to make sure that I channel this word correctly, you know. And I'm going to start with this because this is the first thing at the forefront of my mind. And it reminds me of words from Brother Student Minister Abdul Malik out in Minister Farrakhan's representative on the West Coast, right? He states, and with your story about gang banging, right? He states that we must stop religious gang banging, right? And when we learn how to do what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, when he says our unity is more stronger than our atomic or hydrogen bomb. We need unity in the community. That's one of the aspects that's gonna make our community a decent and better place to live. And your story represents that for me.
Praise be to
unity, right? By example, that regardless to whom or what and where your background is, that we can come together on a common cause and build. Because people do not care about how much you know and how much they care about how much you care. So if we can just be able to show that we care, because John C. Maxwell say a leader knows the way, shows the way, knows the way, and go the way. So we got to be able to go the way that the people are afraid to go. That's what makes leadership. You got to take people to a space that they would have never gone by themselves. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done that for humanity, in particular, the Black man and woman in the wilderness of North America. He's brought us back up into the knowledge of ourselves, God, and others through the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what I love about the minister, he loves us so much. He's a trusted friend. He would never take his people to something that will harm us. He took us and he led the way as a leader to a technology, a spiritual technology that will handle the mental health of our people. Because long before COVID, he gave us this. But when COVID happened, which means the minister has foresight, we know that, right? But he had foresight into what the plan was. And that was dealing with our mental health. So he gave us an Exodus plan that if we will be wise enough and unify and take that spiritual technology called Dianetics, which is valid therapy, and handle our minds. You mentioned a word that our people may not know, which is engrams. What does that translate into? Your own weaknesses, which in Minister Farrakhan say in Closing the Gap, devils. When we could confront that and we handle the weaknesses of self, that's going to make our community a decent and better place to live.
That's right.
And we have an Exodus route where we're not dependent upon what the system is giving us as medication. Those who do it, you have to do that. You understand? I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is there's a way out where you can be at cause and not at the effect of your own trauma. This is healed on purpose.
That's right.
We're at the effect of our own trauma, but we need a trusted friend, like a friend of God. And I know from my own personal self, Minister Farrakhan is a friend of God.
Well, he absolutely is.
And he's given us something. He don't religious gangbang. I'm coming to something here. So yeah, it came from the Church of Scientology, but is it good for you? Like your cell phone, where it came from?
Where it came from?
Good for you.
Where that degree come from?
Where it come from? This is technology, and it's right down to the modern time. So we don't trip on what religion. No, is there some truth in that? Can I gain some benefit to help myself, my family, my community, and ultimately the nation, the world? You understand? So our people, like you said, we're destroyed from the lack of knowledge. We need to be transferers of knowledge. Right? In addition to that, and I'm gonna bring it all back to so y'all can get some, get the context and see what we're talking about here. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we got to learn how to eat to live. We got to be fortified to do the God's work. And one thing we know is we have something that will help our people, where we could strengthen not just our will, but our will to live physically and have longevity.
Right.
Like the prophets of the old time. We can get past 100 while we hoping to get to 100. No, we can live way longer than that if we know how to eat to live. And we have that as well. And so let me just put some of these books up here so I don't just, this is the book that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, this is a part of the work of the repair of the Black family. We're providing alternative solutions to mental health, for mental health. Makes sense? So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, we have the How to Eat to Live by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So you can be fortified no matter where you are. You're a Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. What's the quality of your life?
That's what's the matter.
That's what matters, right? And your beautiful program that you have. I want to bring it back to basic. We got something that we can help our youth, because the children, the youth are the future.
Right.
And so we want you all to, as we closing this out, to call 727-342-2821. And as we are all striving, because big fields await all of us, we're striving to take that part of our field work to lead our people into the hereafter. We're already in the hereafter, but have quality of life in the hereafter, God's kingdom on earth.
That's right.
My field is helping to repair the Black family, healing on purpose. So we're bringing something to the community, myself and my husband and all of those that support us. We're bringing something to our community. We got a community health fair, and I got to update my flyer, where I have powerful people from the community, people that think like us. They know they're not in the Muslim faith, but they believe in believe and do good. They believe and they're doing good, and they're supporting the efforts of making our community a decent and better place to live. So we're having a health fair and expo, the first of its kind, because we're bringing it from a different perspective, from different people from all walks of life, not just one walk, all walks of life. That's what's going to make our community a decent and better place to live. And guess what? It's free. We're going to have different presenters. We're going to have vendors. It's not too late to vend, by the way. And what is going to be addressed? Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. We're going to have something for everybody. So get yourself in the room April 18th from 1 to 5, right there where we do our work, Brother Fard. Right. In Charles Park.
In Charles
Park, right? So we're following the instructions, the direction of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. This is how we're contributing to our specific area, Saint Petersburg, Florida. So we ask of your support. And I'm going to ask you one thing, Brother Fard, in our closing message. And I got one more announcement. Maybe I should do that. Let me just do my product of the day, okay? Product of the day. Okay, my product of this week is the Honey Lime Ginger Sea Moss. You can go to www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. Product of the week is our Honey Lime Ginger. Yes, we ship all across this country. Okay, www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. And I did mention this book. So you also can get this book, Repair of the Black Family Anthology, at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. All right. So, Brother Fard, in our closing remarks, we've heard your story. We are witnessing your work. And we see your love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam in making our community, and the love for your family, right? In making our community a decent and safe place to live across America, specifically right here, specifically in Saint Petersburg, Florida. What is your message that you would like to give across this platform for all that's listening, and also specifically for the residents of Saint Petersburg, Florida and surrounding areas?
Yes, ma'am. Well, my message is same as I just said it. We have to unite and we have to separate. We have to come together truly for one cause, and that's to save our city, save the area, but most importantly, save our youth. So we don't keep passing down generation and generation of the same curse over and over again, thinking something gonna change. We have to finally come together and not saying that I don't want to be a Muslim. That ain't got nothing to do with us coming together. We got to come together for the one common cause. That don't mean we're going to look alike, but we got to have the same mentality, the same goal, so we can accomplish what we will, because it's something that every group and individuals do that we might don't do better, that do something better than us. It's something we do better than that. So we have to come together with that. You feel me? And we have to save our city. We have to unite, and we have to separate. We have to separate, and we got to get out of niggerville and individualism and get away, like you said, the religious gang banging. How you gonna get people in your congregation when you're banging and downplaying another congregation, and we all saying we believe in a God? We all saying we are righteous. We all saying we got the truth. If we all got the truth, that we should be able to line this truth up together and be one. That's what we should be able to do. So that's the message that I have for us in St. Petersburg. We got to come together. We got to go harder to save our youth, and they need institutions, righteous institutions, and we can save them by the thousands overnight. Let's do it.
That's so beautiful. And Brother Fard, for those that's listening to your message from anywhere across the country, but in particular the Tampa Bay area, and they would like to join on with you and help support your efforts, especially when it comes to raising up and making St. Petersburg a decent and safe place to live, how can they contact you via phone, social media, dot? Please let the people know how they can join on and support your efforts and our efforts, but in particular your efforts to help this city rise.
Well, yes, ma'am. They can text me that number that you showed, the same number, 727-342-2881. You can text me your name and why you're trying to connect. If you're interested in the youth program, you can text that number. I get a lot of spam calls, so please text first and don't just call because I may don't answer it. But text and I will get it and respond promptly. Also, you can follow me on social media, Fard Mahdi 13, Instagram, Fard Mahdi Facebook, also Fard Mahdi TikTok, and I also have a Fard Mahdi 13 YouTube channel as well. So you can connect with me and follow me on any of those platforms, and also you can inbox me from those platforms, send me a DM. You will get a response. And let's connect. Well, that's what the platform that I'm at, and I also have an email for the youth program. It is 9newlibya5@gmail.com. 9newlibya5@gmail.com, and we will respond to you promptly. But those are the avenues to connect with me. Thank you, Sister Maria, for the opportunity to share that. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And for those that can't see the screen, I want to make sure that you have the correct spelling. It's FARDMHDI. Again, that's FARDMAHDI. Brother Fard, I want to thank you so very much for this powerful and electrifying and heartfelt message that you've been able to share on the Heal on Purpose platform. We thank Almighty God Allah. We pray that He is pleased, His messenger is pleased, and the minister is pleased with all of our efforts, and the Nation of Islam is pleased with our efforts to be obedient to the direction and the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, making our community a decent and safe place to live. I'm going to put you in the background as we get ready to close out. Just hold on for me, and I'll get back with you. And again, I want to thank you so very much for being here tonight. And for all of you that had the opportunity to stay and be in the journey with us, this was a podcast that, was needed, very, very much, and definitely wanted. We stayed over time, but I believe that all of those who was able to walk it out with us was, dearly fed by the message today. And we want this message to be a message of action. So we ask that you support the efforts that was shown to you tonight by reaching out to Brother Fard Mahdi, also attending the community health fair, going and connecting and subscribing to the channel of the website of Repair of the Black Family, so you can stay updated with us at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. Being able to text our community 727-337-7808, and we will let you know of the different activities that we also have to be able to help make our communities, our families, a decent and better and safe place to live and be a part of. Again, my name is Coach Sister Nayera. I am the founder of the Repair of the Black Family and the host of this particular podcast, Heal on Purpose. We have so many amazing things that's coming up. We're expanding in our business, and we want you to be able to be a part of our journey. Thank you for listening. We love y'all for real. And remember, a leader don't just know the way, they go the way and they show the way. John C. Maxwell. God bless you all. Peace. Make your community a decent and better place to live.